Good afternoon from Smoky, California. This is Victoria Vesna. I'm the director of the UCLA Art Science Center and also professor in the
Good
department.
afternoon from Smoky, California. Oh, sorry.
So this was a little bit of a glitch. What I started saying is that I'm also a professor at the Department of Design Media Arts. And I had the great pleasure of having Iman Person as my teaching assistant for a class that I teach biotech and art. I did not know her, and I just came back from sabbatical. She was a new student in our graduate program, and it was just wonderful to start working with her and seeing her work, and recently actually discovering what she means by urban shamanism. So before we were kicked out of the UCLA Botanical Gardens, she last minute put up her installation, and we get to take a look at it and also hear from her a little more about it. So, welcome, Iman, and give us a little bit of an idea of what we're going to see, and then let's take a look at the garden.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. Also, thank you for inviting me to participate in this event. It's been very interesting last few weeks putting everything together. I guess to give a little bit of brief background about the piece that you're about to see. So sometime last year, I was doing research on plant signaling and plant communication. And so during this research, I realized or found out that plants, of course, like communicate through their root systems, but they also communicate through releasing these volatile organic compounds in the air, or plant hormones into the air. And these hormones are carried and suspended by the wind. So they're a variation of hormones that plants use for different, I guess, like messages is what I would say. Some of them are messages to relay caution that like a predator is in the area. Some of them signal growth to a family of plants. And so these hormones are basically absorbed by these plants, and these messages don't even have to just stay within a family or a group of plants. These messages can carry for miles by the air, and also be picked up by other species of plants. And they can kind of hear these signals as well. So I thought it was very interesting that, as we're carrying out about our day, that plants were constantly communicating to each other through methods that humans aren't acutely sensitive to. So in doing this research, I found this plant hormone methyl jasmonate, and found that I could purchase it. And I started to think about what would it feel like to be in a space with plants where an excess or an abundance of this hormone was being released in the air and being absorbed into our skin. I have also been kind of thinking about air in relation to migration and language, and how essentially like the air holds qualities of a landscape, and how different qualities or different messages of a landscape can also be transferred through the air. So I won't take up too much time because the video is about 40 minutes or so. And I do want to give time for questions. I know that the live stream might be a little bit choppy, so I did want to post a link that is also on my website if people want to view it there. It's probably going to be a lot smoother. But I did want to open up the space for questions afterwards. So feel free to ask any questions, any burning questions, and yeah, we can have a conversation after. But I think we're going to go ahead and get started.
It's rolling. So are you viewing it on
Thank you so much, Yuan.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful and very meditative to watch.
I'm glad. Thank you.
I think there were just a couple questions. I mean, everyone, I'm sure you were, I see that you were responding to some of the things in the chat. I also want to echo Clinton's question, which was, how is the sound made? Thank you so much, Yuan. Yeah. Thank you. It's so beautiful and very meditative to watch.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Iman, can you hear me now? Sorry, I'm glitching out there.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, how was the sound produced?
So the sound, some of it is found, but I did record some of the missing sound that was happening in the garden. Yeah, just to answer that question. But I didn't create like a whole original score.
It was, I mean, it was perfectly synced with the whole scene. Also really interested in that, the mirror or the hanging square. What was that?
So it's this like piece of steel that I've just been using in random projects. I'm trying to figure out what it really means for me. I think I'm envisioning it maybe in the future as kind of like existing as a symbol for like communication, or maybe doing a project like down the line, like having sound emanate from something similar, like a sculpture that's similar. I've just been kind of like playing with like refraction and light, and yeah, I just really am kind of like attracted to the aesthetic of this piece of steel.
Oh, I feel that too. I was also very attracted to it, especially in those moments where the water was dripping down and it's creating these like sort of parallel lines, and then there's like shadows that are contrasting over it. Like, yeah, I don't know. It sort of does feel like this, like a kind of, it has like a body or something, like it, or a persona maybe. It like carries a presence with it, so I liked seeing it out there. Is anyone
also asked what it smelled like?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually have some of it here. It kind of smells, I guess, the way they advertise it, it smells like kind of this light jasmine scent. I'm not sure if I agree with them, but I mean, it does kind of have like a jasminish scent to it, but it also, it's like a very, very light floral scent. So they actually use this compound in a lot of perfumery. So it's not that you can smell it along like on its own, but it's usually like one of the notes that's added. So I think that's also pretty interesting that it's an addition to some colognes and some perfumes, or at least like a synthesized version of this hormone is a part of how humans smell. But yeah, it has like a really, really light floral scent. It's kind of barely there, but you can kind of notice it. It's a very interesting, little strange scent.
Yeah, it's interesting in that sense. It's like we're also carrying, which I'm sure that it's like these signals or these chemicals are falling on our bodies also all the time. Like even as you're out there, not only from your piece, but from the plants around that we're all kind of carrying these chemicals on our skin, you know, maybe, and also transferring them to the plants in some way. It's so interesting to think about what's being carried through chemical signals and like what's being said. It's also a question that's been on my mind too, in terms of like interspecies communications and how, like what is being said and how can we listen?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think it kind of begins to tie into the conversations that people are starting to have about like bacteria and like that having its like own communication within your body. and how you kind of like sense that, even though there's like obviously no verbal communications that are happening, the fact that your body responds to this like signal that's being put off by these organisms, and they kind of collaborate together to, you know, make sure that you're okay and that you're continuing to like be able to walk into the world. I think it's pretty fascinating that we also encounter like different organisms and molecules as we just kind of like walk about our day that we have like we're just not aware of at all or not cognizant of. So yeah, I kind of wanted to like highlight that and bring it to our attention, or bring it to the forefront, that we do encounter other beings on a constant basis, even though we are unaware or have a language to exchange with those entities.
Yeah, I totally agree. Beautiful work. Does anyone else? Is there anything that anyone wants to add in the chat? Well, we've gotten some amazing feedback, and hopefully this is the spark of an interesting series that we can all continue to learn about with you.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah, it's definitely like a work in progress, and I think you mentioned it in your feed yesterday. This was kind of like an experiment. So yeah, it was. I kind of just countered it that way, just want to see what happens, and but yeah, I definitely have plans to like expand the project and yeah, see where it takes me. So I'm excited about it.
Great, me too. Well, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much, Suman. And next we have Alvaro coming up with another performance. So that's in actually 10 minutes. So we hope that you will tune in for that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up and for your great questions.